Alright, so we just made it here. A little lower than I was expecting, so we'll have to see how easy it is getting it around. I think I can still make it back to one of the 3 islands, hopefully the bigger one, and hopefully it's not too overgrown so that we can find a decent camping spot for tonight. Can unload the canoe and then get packed up and ready to go here. My spider friend made the trip. Been living in my car for the past like 2 weeks. Whoops. To get our muck boots on. Alright, we're on our way. Like I said, this is way shallower than I was thinking it was going to be. The water must be down quite a bit. Normally I think it's supposed to be around 8 or 9 feet deep. Pretty much looks like it can touch everywhere. It's probably, now with the weeds, it's probably 4 feet right now. For some reason, the yellow jackets really like the lily pads, so I'm going to try to avoid them here as best as possible. But not too aggressive, since there's not a nest or anything. There was some swans back in there, but I think they've since gone away. If anyone could leave down in the comments why wasps like lily pads so much, maybe I'll have to look that up when I get home. They're just everywhere out here. Luckily they're just kind of flying away. But not a big fan of wasps. Yeah, I'm really liking the swarms of wasps out here. I don't know how many times I can say it, but at least now we can kind of, for the time being, beat away from the lily pads where it seems like they're frequenting. Yeah, we'll have to see if we get some storms tonight. There's some distant thunder off in the distance, but nothing up close. The sun was actually out for a while right before I got here. I wonder if they're just going through a drought up here. Because Google Maps showed this as completely, there's no weeds or anything. It was completely filled up. And then I think Onyx, my hunting app that I was using to find the national forest line, is to make sure that it's legal to camp around here. That showed it as pretty much what it is right now. I think it showed it as even worse than what it is right now. So I don't know if within the last few years if they've lost a lot or they're letting more through the dam, but something's different than it was a few years ago. It'd be this shallow now. Looks like it might be a good entry area right there. Hope you can see it. Right in between those two dead trees. Looks like it might be a good place to get in at. Keep going around the island and see if there's anything better. Head back. Try to get in where we saw it before. If that doesn't pan out, we can come back this way. And it looks like the creek hugs the shoreline closer here to where we won't have to go through as many reeds. Get to the shoreline, we can find a nice spot along that. Can't get to the island. But ideally, I wanted to be on the island. It's really weird too, there's no mosquitoes at all right now. There's little gnats flying around. That's it. Back where I live in the city. Oh man, there's just clouds upon clouds of mosquitoes that go after you right now. So it's just kind of cool to see that different areas have different hatches. And the more I think about it, we're the Ducks Unlimited signed partnership. Look here, I'm assuming they drained this to a lower state on purpose to use for duck hunting, would be my guess. Make a wetlands area. These damn wasps. Easiest here. Stand up and have a push pull, I think. Just give you a shot of my crotch, apparently. Hopefully you can pick some of that up, but all the dragonflies are cruising around top of the grass here. Kind of made it to the end of where I can make it with my canoe, push pulling in. Luckily it's not mucky, so my muck boots should be fine without sinking in. Yeah, kind of just looks like a giant grassy field with a creek running through it, not a lake or a flowage like they said. And like I said from Google Maps, this was all filled in with water, like 9 feet deep. Never know what you're gonna get into, but that's why it's an adventure. So we're gonna leave the canoe here. We're gonna hike back in that way. It looks pretty open, and we'll see how far back we can get and if we're gonna camp here or not. Hopefully I do not step on a wasp nest, but it looks like there's a trail going up here, so who knows what made that. I don't know how many people come through here. So, who knows, it could be a bear or something. Oh, little toad, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, definitely a warning trail here. Going back in, so Let's see what it is. Go bear! It's kind of dark in here. Look on the light. This is a possibility to stay here. Just have to find somewhere flat to set up. Yeah, I don't know. You can see that there's definitely a trail worn in here. It's quite odd. Especially since there's a branch right here. Gotta be something else making it. Oh, that's nice. A bunch of spider webs on me now. Alright. Maybe it was people. Burnt wood. Alright, well, I can head back to the canoe and we'll make up our mind here. If we're gonna stay here, we'll stay at this campsite. If we're gonna stay on the island. What the heck was that? So let's get back to the canoe. We'll decide there. It's about 5:50, so we got 20 minutes under 2 hours left of sunset or sunlight. So we'll have to make up our minds quick. Looking if there's too much dead stuff around here that could hurt me. Set up right underneath this pine tree here. Looks pretty flat. Those trails must be from people. There's some shotgun shells here. So just stumbled across this guy. Poor turtle got taken out. Painted turtle. He is gone. There's even crickets in there. Yep. Even crickets in there. Poor guy though. Alright. Let's hope we don't end up like him. Let's get back to the canoe and continue down the creek more. Alright, we are back on the water. Continue our way on, see if we can find anything better. Hopefully we do, because I don't want to set up in the dark. And that wouldn't have been a bad spot either. This makes me nervous that sometimes that ground, when it's that real punky stuff, it can get caught on fire really easy, especially on the island. You know, my grandparents, up by their cabin, their island, is like that, where you really can't have a fire on the island without kind of getting that stuff to smolder for days if you don't put it out correctly. So just going to avoid that as much as we can. Continue on our way down. Hope to find something better on the mainland along through here. Okay, so this is pretty much all national forest land going all the way back down this creek. So I'm sure we'll find something different. yeah, I was very lucky to spot this canoe on Marketplace. Looking at these before we bought our new fishing kayaks, and I knew I kind of wanted to switch something to something more like a solo canoe, but those Winona and then Swift kayaks that are specialty made for basically boundary waters, portaging, that weigh around like 20 pounds, 25 pounds. Those are absolutely insanely expensive. And they're probably worth the money with the materials they're made out of. And the time and energy that went into make it as durable as they are, with how light of material that is. It's more pissed off wasps here. But geez, I can't just justify dropping $3,000 or $4,000 on a solo canoe. So these Old Town Discoveries, or in this case this is an Old Town Guide, both pretty much the same thing. The seats were a little different. This was sold by Dick's Sporting Goods, I think. They had, I think, the rights to it or whatever, and that was before I think the Discovery series was branded by Old Town. So this was a bit older, but still at the end of the day, very nice for what I got it for. Picked it up used, didn't have to buy a new one, and it was really hard to find anywhere that offered just the base Old Town Discovery 119. A lot of the fleet farms we have around here were all offering the Sportsman upgrade package, which is basically the sides are cut down more, so it's more of a kayak profile, which is all good and dandy because it'll probably be a little easier to paddle because you don't have the higher gunnels on the side. But then the weight capacity was cut down to, I think max was 300. So this is, the guide is 550, so you right there you're losing 250 pounds of gear, or another dog that you can bring if you have a dog, which eventually, hopefully after we get out of the apartment, we'll be getting a dog. Okay, so over here I kind of see an opening that might be nice. Just note that. I guess that's not a good reference point. I was going to say by the birch tree that's going yellow, but there's a lot of those along shore. So gotta set up probably fast here. I don't know what it's doing. Kind of going blue sky back there a little bit, but then there's thunder in the distance. So we gotta get something figured out. So to that other spot I saw with that dead birch tree and get set up, I think. That's gonna have to be it, because the island was okay. It was a little too close with all that noise from the road that was pretty close to the edge of this. Mosquitoes are starting to come out a little bit here. Take a hint, bud. As you can see, my flannel I completely had. Forgot I had my life jacket on. Thanks. I think one just bit my butt through my pants. Mosquitoes are picking up a little bit, but we are to that dead tree, so we're going to try to get back in there. Right on the edge of the creek. Got a long ways to go in this marshy stuff, so we'll get to her, and hopefully there's a spot back there for us, because I don't want to move anymore. Last point we'll be going back to the island over there, but I would like not to. So let's get pulling here. Alright, so we gotta get headed back. It does sound like there's a storm rolling in. The skies are getting a little bit grayer. It's getting dark out, so we gotta get this camp set up. So the problem I'm having is this area must have got hit by that storm too. Forest Service has come through, if you can see behind me, and a lot of those trees are marked blue to cut down. So I'm gonna head back that way. There's some fallen trees back there, and there's one big one that I think I can do some ridge pulls off of and be pretty safe. Even if something smaller comes down on it, I think I should be pretty well protected underneath it in case these storms get bad. But gotta get back, start setting up camp, and get to her. I don't know if I have a fire tonight or not, but I do. Like I said, I have that little bush stove, so cooking up meals, we'll be using that. So stay tuned. All right, we got the canoe flipped over so it doesn't fill up with water. I can head back. I don't know if it's already dumping rain back that way. It'll be harder to tell on the action cam, but looks kind of hazy, so better start getting set up. All right, so here's the spot I'm planning on setting up at. I think I'm gonna tie a ridge pole off to this tree, rest it on top of there, or 2 ridge poles going off that way. I think that might be best, so I can sneak back down and then stake her out and have some vented area back there at the back of the tent as well. So it's a little sloped, so I think I'd rather be going with my feet downhill this way. That's gonna be our best option. If I go across, probably gonna be rolling back the whole night if I try to sleep that way. So probably 2 ridge poles that way and take her back. So start getting set up. There's a mosquito trying to attack the camera right now, so hopefully there'll be enough light for you guys to see. But I am gonna get started right now. If you guys can stand up, that'd be great. Okay, you guys can still see me or hear me, just making some stakes. Finish the shelter out. stretch this up and away. Give me some more room to work with. Got this set up just in time. It's starting to come down. Not too bad yet, but you guys probably definitely hear the thunder in the distance. So hopefully you can kind of see that. So we just have one ridge pole going up to that bigger tree. We're going to sleep back in that corner, the far corner. Just the one ridge pole going to the bottom. The other one just staked down to the ground, and then the other corner's tied down more so on the end down here. And then of course I got that one rope, can't really see it, got one rope guying off that top or the middle of the tarp to give us some more headroom. So I'm gonna start clearing a spot for my sleeping pad, and then I think we'll call her. I don't know, maybe I might gather some firewood first, just because it's about to pick up. So if we get on that, I'll meet you back underneath the tarp. Sky, probably can't pick it up on there, but it's getting real pink. So, interesting. I'm missing a pretty good sunset trap tail back in here. Ooh-wee! As you can see, there's, I think that storm went through, knocked down all these trees. There's not much that can get me. All the trees around here are living, so they all look healthy. So if anything does come down, banking on, which you can't see, I guess I can turn that on, banking on this big tree to save my ass if something does come down tonight, if the winds pick up or something. But it's a real light drizzle right now, so we'll see what it has in store for us. And I'm gonna get the sleeping pad set up now. Alright, we're just gonna set up the little bush stove here. It's got a lot of twigs. That's all I had time for really before it started raining, so we're not gonna have a fire or anything tonight. A big fire. Everything's pretty damp right now because it had rained, I think, before I got up here. But that's the beauty of these stoves. Ideally, this is the first time I'm going to be using it, but I think it helps dry out everything, and also it's a regasifier, so it burns the smoke coming off also. Get it preloaded enough. If everything's kind of damp, I'm just going to use one of these little fire starting cubes. Hopefully that does her. Alright, got the Nalgene popped on. We're going to just be making that beef stroganoff. Over here I have that line set up. I've done this before, or if it's stripping off the tarp, I'll actually run a line down into a cup to collect water. It's not raining really hard right now and it's kind of letting up, so I might have to run down to the creek and grab some more, but I think we have more than enough wood to boil up water with this little bush stove. So bring you back for the beef stroganoff, but other than that, this little off-brand twig stove's working great right now. So nice and hot coming off of there, so we should have a boil in no time. Alright, we're gonna have to run down to the creek to grab some more water because, like an idiot, I dropped the boiling water everywhere. I forgot the little like fish grip things that I normally use to pick that up off, and I thought these gloves would be thick enough for me to grab it for a second to set it down. Yeah, nope, that didn't work. Got real hot, and then I tried to set it down too fast. There's a little bit of a mound right there, and it tipped over. Got on this. Luckily didn't get on me, but yeah, so now we're all out of water, so I'm gonna have to head down again, grab some water, which the rain's dying down right now, so that's good. So yeah, we'll be back for round number 2 of trying to make my dinner. So hey, just got back, grabbing some water. I have 1 water container, 2 water container, 3 water container. Gotta get this thing. Just a sec. Ooh. Got all that extra water I could have used. But wait, there's more soaking into my sock. Oh man. Yeah, so I was grabbing water down there. It's like a huge marsh, so you're walking through all this muck and like standing water. And I got right up to the edge and I was trying to go fast because it was lightning out. I don't want to be standing in water. Well, wouldn't you know, flash of lightning came up and I got a little bit worried, so I started going faster, and I was right on the edge of the creek. I was testing my footing as I was stepping out to make sure it wasn't under my boots, and when that flash of lightning came up, I'm just like, oh man, gotta do this quick. And I just took one more step without testing first, and junk went down and went above my boot, and I got soaked. So I'd rather have a soaked boot than get struck by lightning in the water, so I guess it's not the worst, but oh man, I can laugh it off. I'm just having a good time out here, so tune back in when I get my food made. Alright, we got our creek water boiling and purifying. On this trip I didn't bring any of my extra. Normally I always bring 2 water purifying systems, so this was going to be 1. I'm just going to bring some tablets, some iodine tablets, but normally when I bring those I just end up going with the iodine tablets, so I don't have to mess around with boiling water. This one I kind of wanted to be a little bit more skills challenge, so I'm going to be boiling all my water to purify. That means I'm going to have to boil and then cool down for my drinking water. So there's also tons of this wintergreen everywhere, and tomorrow maybe I can find some. There's one back here still. I gotta figure this out to get the light to stay. So if you can see that, that one's got a berry on it. So I've never tried the berries on these. Apparently they are edible. Yeah, maybe I'll try a few tomorrow if I can collect them, or maybe I'll just pick a few, throw them in my pocket, and bring them home, and then just double check that you can eat them, because I'm not about just eating wild edibles when you're not 100%. Alright, we got the metal Nalgene at a rolling boil now. Started going too fast and then it bubbled over and started putting up the fire, but so that's one thing to watch out for if you fill your canteen right up to the top. but just right now I kind of have it fire just simmering. I got it back going just so I can get a rolling boil for 30 seconds or so. I don't like to, they say it's safe if you at least achieve a rolling boil, but I like to let it go for a while just to be extra safe. So guess we'll get to eating. We don't really have anything to drink. I might pour some water from this over into that to make some apple cider, just to cool it off faster too. Yeah. Okay, we can have round number 2 of trying to get this off the stove to cool off. Okay. We did it! If I would have dropped that, I would have been so sad, because I would have had to walk all the way back down to the water to grab more, to come back, to have this thing out, to start it up again, to wait another like 20 minutes for it to boil. Alright, we have our beef stroganoff I'm just about to dig into. I have apple cider chilling my cooksta and then my metal pan, because it's extremely hot and it's pretty warm out, so nothing's cooling off too fast. So that's cooling down. I got about say a little under 3/4 of that left. I'm gonna have to chug that before I go to bed tonight if it's cooled down enough, because I'm super thirsty. Little stove is just letting it go out, and then I should have enough wood supply for tomorrow morning to quick boil up some food. So my oatmeal and my tea. So yeah, I'm gonna dig into this, and it's gonna be very good. Alright, now that I'm blind to myself, the first few bites. Pretty good. Still very hot. Sitting out for a half hour, so nothing's cooling off too fast. Probably been worthwhile to bring my my filter set up, or some pills to purify water, because this is going to be annoying to wait for everything to cool off in time for me to eat. So probably bring you back when I'm hanging my bear bag, because I haven't done that yet. That's always the funnest to do at night. At least I'm not drunk, because sometimes I'm out by myself. I forget to hang up the bear bag before I get to drinking, and then that's a whole fiasco on its own. So bring you back for that after I'm done. Yeah, then it's going to be pretty much going to journal a little bit, head off to bed, wake up early tomorrow, pack up, and get out of here. Get back to town. I have some plans in town, so yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop playing myself with this stupid light and sign off for a bit. Alright, got my bear bag hung. Probably going to head into bed here. It was a nice night. There's some distant flashes of lightning, so who knows if that will eventually make its way to us, or to me rather, and I don't know, we'll have to see. I'll bring you back if it gets really bad. As of right now, I'm going to have to pretty much just sleep in my boxers, I'm pretty sure. Everything on me is drenched. My pants got drenched from walking through all that stuff. They actually they're pretty dried out. This material is supposed to dry rather quickly. I'll have to look up to what material it actually is. It's not your classic hiking pants, breathable stuff. It's a little bit more heavy duty, but it is supposed to dry really fast. Boots wet, flannel's wet. My shirt is pretty much almost dry now. It was drenched in sweat before from having that life jacket on. I'll probably keep my shirt on, but everything else is coming off just so I can have a halfway decent night's sleep. It actually isn't too cold, but I'm probably gonna have to cover up. The mosquitoes are coming in waves, kind of. Nothing too bad, but every now and then I'll get like 3 or 4 around me, and once I kill those, it's good for a while, and then they'll come back. The way I had the shelter set up, I wasn't able to get my bug screen set up. Doesn't matter, the bugs aren't that bad, so if they were worse, I would probably figure out a way to jerry-rig it, but I'm not going to worry too much about it now. I have my just my bug head net, that if they get too bad, I'll just put my hat on, then put that on, just to kind of keep some semblance of sanity, but I don't think I'm going to need it. Yeah, it was actually a good night. My apple cider finally cooled down enough to drink. My water's still pretty hot. I almost spilt it again, so I put the cap back on it. So that will probably be ready to drink by morning. But yeah, it was an interesting night. Dunked my foot in the water. It just journaled that. It's weird how calming nature is when I get out here. I mean, I kind of just brushed that off. It was frustrating at first when I first dunked my foot, but then I could laugh it off because I'm just having a great time out here. So something I'll have to do, come out, and hopefully you guys get some benefit from getting to come along with and watching it if you're stuck at home. So I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to crawl into bed here, get stripped down, and call it a night. Bring you back in the morning. I'll cook up breakfast, and then I'll show you the shelter, how I had set it up, since I don't think you guys got a good look at it tonight because it was getting too dark for the action cams to really pick it up. So yeah, you guys have a good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning, guys. Survived the night. I actually ended up rigging up this mosquito tarp, mosquito netting, right before I went to bed because the mosquitoes tried to just crawl into my sleeping bag, but the mosquitoes kind of got pretty bad and kept biting my arms and face, so the house has set it up wrong, so at 3 a.m. I had to reset it because mosquitoes were getting in somehow. There's a taller portion to it and then a shorter foot box, and I had the wrong
had it all cockeyed, so there's a hole somewhere where mosquitoes were getting in. Apparently when I shifted in the night, I made sure when I went to bed there wasn't, but I think when I was shifting around, stuff opened up and mosquitoes got in somewhere. Elsa had a mouse, I think. I normally sleep with my arms out ahead of me. And with that first setup, this netting was pretty close to my arms. Well, something had just passed out. Something came up and ran up the mesh and was crawling on my arm. It was like a split-second thing. Like I woke up like instantly when I started feeling something scurrying across my arm, and I flipped out and I kind of threw it off and it scampered away. I think it was a mouse, but man, I hate mice if you're gonna be tarp camping. No, I don't run into it when I'm doing primitive camping. It didn't storm too bad last night. There's some scattered thunderstorms that rolled through on and off throughout the whole night, but no real strong wind or anything, so I'm happy with that. I should probably get up. Gotta take a leak, start up breakfast, and then get out of here. It's already 7. So at first I thought I had a half engorged tick on my leg, but it just turns out this was a little jumping spider. Come on, bud. Gotta get my stuff on. Alright, so like I said, I'll show you around my shelter here. Behind me, you see the fallen tree. Nice big fallen tree that is wedged in between those, as well as farther up there. So I thought it would be a pretty good spot in case some bad storms rolled through. There's nothing really that is dead that is around me. Everything's fallen here that was already dead. Well, some of this looked like it was probably living when it fell, so I think had some bad storms roll through here. But so I guess we'll get started here. Alright, so you can see my little like 8-hour candle lantern going still. Yeah, we just have this one log across the front, which probably we didn't even need. I probably could have just tied off the tip of my tarp to that and brought it down, but I was gonna lash the tie-out points around that to make it a little bit more stronger, but I ran out of time, so this is kind of useless. I could have just tied the tarp off to that tree at that point and staked it to the ground over here. Like I said, I had the middle point of the tarp guide back to this tree to give me some extra headroom, and then we just have this side staked to the ground, and then basically that side doing what I said up. Probably would have been a better idea up top, just where it's tied around the tree, and it was not even tied. Sorry guys. Yeah, actually it's not even tied. It is have tied to the tarp, wrapped around the tree. Oh, there's a nice little spider there. Anyways, tied to the tarp, wrapped around the tree underneath, over the top. Actually over the top underneath. And I brought that underneath over
the loop, and I tightened it, brought it down here to stake out to keep the tarp pulled tautly this way. So probably could have just done that same thing up there, but dragged it off that way to tighten the tarp. Alright, so this was underneath the tarp here. I jerry-rigged up my my mosquito net to this guy off point, and then staked it back to the four corners. Like I said, I had to redo that in the middle of the night, but she's pretty cramped underneath here. Just had my gear sitting over here. That's where I had my little twig stove going last night to boil up our water, and that's where I slept. Not too fancy, but she handled the rain pretty good. At certain points it did rain pretty hard, and didn't get wet. The most I got was just a little mist off the ground out here, so nothing too bad. Just gonna grab our food bag here. Also wasn't set up very good last night, but it worked. What are you guys doing? You drank too much, you fell over. Idiots. Alright, so we pretty much have camp broke down now. Just gonna eat a quick granola bar and get the blue tarp packed away, and we'll be on our way. What I like to do is I leave my ground tarp as the last thing. I just pile up all my miscellaneous stuff on it that I still have to get in the pack, so it has a nice drop background, so you're not trying to search for stuff in this, you're trying to search for stuff against a solid color background, so you don't leave anything behind. So we'll get on packing up the rest of the pack, and we'll bring you back when we're on the canoe. Alright, actually going to bring you back real quick before we head down to the canoe. Well, like I was saying last night, there's a lot of this wintergreen everywhere, and a lot of them have berries on it. Now, normally I don't see berries on them, but there's a huge patch, and just a few of them have berries on them. And so I'm going to try a couple. According to some of my wild edible books, these the berries last all the way through into winter. And if you can dig down in the snow, you can grab them. They must drop the next spring or something. But yeah, we're going to try a couple and see how they taste. Alright, first off we're going to come in here. Let's grab a leaf. I'm going to grab a leaf from back there too, but that was pretty tiny. Yep, it's wintergreen. So, I'm going to go to the one that actually has berries on it. You guys can see that, hopefully. Grab one of those leaves. We're gonna pop both those berries. These are just slightly different on this one, but I think it's because it's a younger shoot, and then they mature into that. They both smell like wintergreen. This one's just a little fainter. You can see that they're split open on the bottom. Almost like a little flower. Okay, so we're going to try the wintergreen berries. See how they taste. Looks a little better. Alright. Hopefully I don't die. It doesn't really have a taste. It's got a real subtle wintergreen flavor to it. That's about it. Yeah. Very interesting. Like I said, not much flavor to it, just a slight hint. The consistency's kind of not like a juicy berry, it's more of a kind of an apple-y type crunch to it. So interesting. So now we know what wintergreen berries taste like, I guess. And yeah. Alright, now we'll head down to the canoe. Alright guys, so that is it. That's a wrap on the trip. It's a lovely overnighter, but we're almost back to the car. Yeah, this is definitely a nice area. Don't come here thinking that you're gonna get a lake on this flowage. I think they reduced it down to make some good duck hunting habitat. So it's still a nice easy paddle to get back, and if I have to drag through a bunch of this tall grass to get back near shore. So it's, yeah, you gotta walk through muck for a while, so bring a pair of muck boots. But other than that, it's a pretty nice place to come. Yeah, I think I'll come back here every now and then, just when I need a close trip within like an hour's drive of my home, because sometimes you don't have the time to go on a multi-day adventure where it's worth driving, 3 or 4 hours to get to the place. So this is just a real nice, easy place to get up to for me, to get away for the night. Alright, so that is it, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Let's get a discussion going down in the comments about what's the weirdest wild edible you ever ate. I haven't done too much wild edible stuff, so the berries are definitely the most exotic thing I've ate so far, pretty much. The only other thing I normally eat are blackberries and raspberries. And I have ate blueberries when we went up to Porky's, and they have them growing up there. So it's just something uncommon that you can't find in stores. So yeah, I think I'll be definitely researching a lot more and reading up on different wild edibles that you can get out here. I know you can eat, I believe you can eat, I should say, green cattail, the stalking, I think that, as well as the roots, and then I think even the shoot at the top. If that's green, you can also eat that, but don't take my word on it. Obviously, research for yourself, and maybe we'll try one of those next time we're out. So that's gonna do it, guys. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors.